What does it mean?
I'm Albin. I'm the host and the founder of the Jazz Confusion
My
Power
name
Hour.
is Dion Parson, and I'm honored to share my passion of music with you, our listening audience, through my cultural heritage.
Things can change for you too. If you want to be brand new, that is absolutely possible.
Welcome, everybody. And you're here for another edition of Hitmakers on the Source TV Radio Network, WTSN, Washington, D.C. I'm your host, Mel Albin. And, every few weeks we bring you a Hitmakers. And to be on Hitmakers, you have to have a charting hit in the top 50 somewhere in the world. And we've had some incredible artists who have been on the show with us who have had top hits. And a lot of those previous artists that we've had, and I'm sure some of you who tune in every week have spent some time. We had the last artist we had was Celine Johnson, and she did Black Balloon, which is charting in the top 10. Previous guests we've had is Jay Brown, who's still charting. And Jay was on almost a year ago, and he's one of the only people in this past 6 years to have a top 10 R&B hit every year for the past 6 years. So he's been on our show, Mavis Swan Poole with The Assignment, and her most recent hit, Every Man Ain't the Same. So we've had a lot of great top 20 artists on our show for Hitmakers, and this week is no exception. Excuse me. This week we have a very special guest also, and Vibe magazine has described her singing as rich, velvety voice that warms the inside like a spot of tea. And the Boston Globe described her voice as beguiling set of pipes with a whiff of Whitney here, a scoop of Shaka Khan there. So, we have a very gifted vocalist with us that's been producing fabulous music for a couple of decades. So I want to welcome to our show this week the wonderful, wonderful Hill Street Soul.
Hi.
Hey there. How are you?
Hey. Oh, I'm good. I'm good. So happy to be here.
Yes, and you're here from London in the UK.
Yeah, I'm in all the way from the UK. That's correct. Yeah.
So you're going to reach a very vast audience in the US and Canada here and also throughout the world. So they're going to get some people it'll be a first look at your music. For other people, it'll be a lot of your fans are going to be tuning in to watch also. So
Amazing.
Let me start off and ask you a question that I kind of asked you before we started the show. How did you get the name Hill Street Soul?
So Hill Street Soul basically was a concept that we came up with, myself and the producer I was working with at the time. We were going to call the project that we were working on, the first album, Soul Organic, was going to be called Hill Street Soul. But as we started recording, we decided, because obviously Hillary, as amazing as the name is, it doesn't really have, such a great ring as an artist's name. So just off the back of that, we decided to call me Hill Street Soul, because the Hill obviously comes from my first name, Hillary, and the Street Soul was just kind of like the kind of music that we were trying to create, and it was very much influenced with what was going on the underground at the time. So that's basically how the name came about. And
is Hill Street a reference to anything special?
No, not particularly, actually. It's just the Hill obviously is my abbreviation of Hillary, because everyone calls me Hill when they meet me. So but yeah, it really isn't anything in particular. It was just kind of like wanted to really describe kind of music I was doing and what was influencing me, which was kind of music from the street, the sort of underground sound in the UK at the time when I first started. So yeah, that's pretty much the background story to that.
Well, what I want to tell everybody to start off is, what do you have cooking this year in 2024? What are your plans? You
Oh
going to work
wow.
on some new music?
Yes, all music, music. I've just been like trying to finish my next album project. It started off as we were talking about, myself and Reggie spoke about doing an EP, and now that's turned into an album. So I'm just busy kind of recording at the moment and just trying to get that together. And then obviously off the back of that, I'm really hoping that I'll be doing a lot of live shows as well, in particular in the US, because I haven't actually been to the US, done any performances there for a while. So that is on my bucket list this year. I really have to try and get that going. If not this year, then definitely beginning of next year. But that's the kind of, those are the immediate plans for me.
Terrific. And when you mentioned Reggie, it's Reggie Merrick's, I presume. That's who you're
Yes,
talking
Reggie
about, right?
Myrick's. Yeah, that's who I'm working
Right.
with at the moment. And I've been working with Reggie on and off now for a few good years. And we've just got this great kind of working relationship, great chemistry. So whenever we collaborate, I don't know, we just seem to create magic. So so it's just like, it makes sense to kind of do more music with him. So that is what I'm currently doing.
Wonderful. And I've had Reggie on my show. I have another show called the Jazz Confusion Power Hour, and I had Reggie on
Ah,
that show. And I also had him on Hitmakers. I've had him on both shows. So
oh, fantastic.
I got a long history with Reggie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Amazing producer.
Yeah. Before we get into your music, I'd like people. I know you have a lot of fans out there, but for people that are tuning in that may not be as familiar with your music, can you tell us something about your background? Where were you born and raised? Was there music in your household? What's your first contact with music?
Oh my gosh. Well, I was born in Zambia, which is sort of like Central Africa, near
Mhm.
South Africa, but yeah, that side of the continent. So yeah, I kind of, were brought up in Zambia until maybe about 5 or 6, and then we came to the UK as a family. The whole family came to the UK, me and my 3 siblings. So there's 4 of us in total. Um, so in terms of music, that I just recall when I was in Zambia, just hearing a lot of soul, like old, the old soul music that we all kind of, accustomed to hearing, like the Stevie Wonders and the Aretha's and staple singers, that kind of um music, but kind of mixed in with sort of local Zambian music as well, traditional Zambian music. But predominantly what I remember hearing was just a lot of soul music, and that's off the back of my dad, because he's a hardcore soul man, and so he would buy and collect all the kind of records that we kind of have all grown up, the Gladys Knight, Shaka Khan, you name it, he's got that whole collection of that kind of music. So that's kind of what I predominantly remember hearing as a child, even though I didn't fully understand necessarily what I was hearing, but I just remember definitely hearing some of those records that stuck with me and stayed with me, into my adulthood. Um,
Did you pursue music in school, in primary, secondary school at all?
no, not at all. I actually, I think I kind of stumbled on, into music that later on in life. I wasn't one of these kids that kind of came into the world and like said, "Oh, I'm going to be a musician." Not at all. It was definitely a lot later in my life. I was actually at university, and I decided to take a year out of uni because I remember my brother used to have like house parties over here in the UK. And I just remember one house party, DJ was doing his thing on the decks, and I just kind of went, got the mic and was just messing around. And the DJ was like, "Oh my God, you've got a really good voice. Have you thought about singing?" And that was probably the catalyst in terms of me actually like thinking, "Oh, maybe I should give it a go." But I didn't actually get going until I was at university, and I took a year out. I was studying biological sciences at the time. And I wasn't really happy with the university I was studying at. So I decided to take a year out whilst I did a changeover. And it's during that year that I basically um, decided to go to a local studio in London, and I basically got introduced to two young producers. Initially, when I went there, I did an a cappella, and every time I did auditions or anything like that, I'd always do an a cappella of "Until You Come Back to Me," the Aretha Franklin, Stevie Wonder. So when I did that at the studio boss was like, "Oh my gosh, you have an amazing voice, but I think you need to record some, original material." He hooked me up with producers, and that's pretty much how I got started. And I never really looked back since then. It was just I met these guys, and then we were doing demos, and that particular demo landed on my first label, Dome Records in the UK, and that's really how things, got kickstarted really.
So you never really had any formal music training or
Not
voice
at all.
training.
No, not at
Yeah.
all. I think, I definitely feel like in my case, I think I'm just one of these singers that because I grew up around music, and I'd always kind of sing along to all my favorite artists, especially a lot of, female voices that, these great voices that we all know, and I'd sing along to them, and it was just something that, I guess it was just something that was in me. But I'd never been, and yeah, I've never had any sort of formal training. It was something that I nurtured. Once I discovered that, my love for music, I kind of just really nurtured it, and kind of just worked towards being a better singer, songwriter, and artist. So, but no formal training as far as music is concerned. No.
How did you decide on the genre? What kind of music you wanted to sing? I know you mentioned soul, that was very prevalent. Okay, but you've done some hip hop. You've done a few other things too, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, I always, whenever I get asked that question, I always say that the foundation of what I do is soul music, soul R&B, because that's kind of like what I grew up on, and that's what I kind of gravitated towards. However, if you do listen to my body of work, you will hear
Right.
influences of other genres of music, like hip hop, bit of jazz in there, a bit of folk, a bit of acoustic kind of vibe, a bit of gospel. So I kind of just throw in everything that I'm kind of influenced by in my music. So I don't try and restrict myself, but I think the glue is soul music. That is what kind of um, you know, gets it all kind of together, and making it sound, giving it that Hill Street soul sound. But I'm definitely influenced by different styles of music.
Yeah, it sounds like you never met a genre you didn't like.
No, well, I don't know about that. Probably like, country music's probably the only one I haven't touched upon, and rock music. So you know.
You're not a big country fan?
No, not particularly. No, not to say I'm not a fan of it. But I think just in terms of my music, I don't feel like I've necessarily. I think maybe like I've been influenced from the songwriting aspect, because some of the like country music's soul, what do you call it, songwriting is incredible. So yeah, definitely that. I feel like that definitely has an influence on me for sure.
Well, you've opened the door for me because I never do admit this, but I don't like country music.
Ah, I'm
You know, I,
I mean, I won't go out and buy. Yeah, I'm a bit like that as well.
yeah,
However, I do recognize that
yeah, yeah.
some of
I,
the
I
songwriting
get
in
it.
country music is
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, people I know in the music industry have always said to me, it's just like blues. And I say,
Yeah.
no, it's too twangy.
Doesn't sound like it, right?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
It's
The
kind
old
of different.
joke. You know the old joke. What do you get when you play a country song backwards?
No.
You get your car back, your truck back, your house back, your dog back, your wife back.
Ah. That's so true.
Isn't it? That's the theme of country music.
It is, yeah. That is so true, yeah.
Well, how would you define your breakout moment? When was it, and what song or what album would you consider your real breakout?
I would say it was definitely my debut album, Soul Organic. Because that album has got my cover of Until You Come Back to Me. Aretha Franklin, Stevie Wonder penned Until You Come Back to Me. So that song definitely was the one that kind of, I think, put Hills on the map. And to
Is that
this
the demo?
day, I think it's like one of the most streamed songs, of Hill Street Soul songs. It's one of the most streamed songs on Spotify. So that's kind of amazing in itself. So that is
That,
definitely the song that put me on the map.
yeah, wasn't that the demo that you brought to the record label? Am I wrong?
That's correct. Yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah.
when I recorded it again, it was just because it's one of my favorite all-time songs, and every time I was trying to get into the music industry, that is the song I would sing until you come back to me. And so I decided just to record it as part of my first album. And yeah, and it just took off, and I was kind of a little bit surprised actually, but pleasantly surprised. So that was definitely the song that really kickstarted and put me on the map for sure.
Yeah. How did you get to the record label? How did you get the demo there?
Well, they actually were familiar with me when I was doing my demos. A young A&R that worked for Dome Records kind of came across my demo actually, which I think we must have sent the demo to the label, and he played it to the label boss, and they basically they loved what they heard, and that is kind of how I got introduced to that particular label. So it was off the back of the demo, funny enough. Yeah,
That kicked you off.
in
That's
those
great.
days when you could send a cassette in, and and then they would check it out, and then you'd get a phone call to say we want to
Yeah.
meet you, and that kind of thing. So that's how it all happened.
You must have been excited about that.
Sure.
I want to start playing some of your music for everybody. And I want to
Okay.
start out with your current hit. It's charting back in the day. So why don't you
Yes,
tell
back in the
everybody a
day.
little bit about the title, the backstory to that development of that song?
Okay, so funny enough with this song, um, I kind of got introduced to it. Reggie basically sent me the track, and he specifically said, "I want you to write a song, um, just like kind of like a reflective, nostalgic kind of track, talking about back in the day." So it was kind of Reggie's idea to kind of write about that topic. And I sat on it for a little bit, and then I started just thinking about kind of revisiting my past, kind of, in my heyday when I used to go clubbing with my girls, and so it was kind of loosely based on that, really. And it's really just talking about how the music felt to us back in the day. It was just kind of like the pureness of it, I guess. And I just recall um we used to basically live in clubs. We'd go, whether it was a Monday or a Saturday, we were in a club. So it was just really talking about that experience back in the day, and just how good the music felt, and how great the groove was, and so it was really talking about my experience of clubbing in my youthful days in the UK, in London. So that's what that particular song is referencing.
Yeah, that's great. Well, let's play this for everybody. It's this one. Okay, we'll play this for everybody. And this is
Wonderful.
Hill Street Soul and her current hit, Back in the Day.
Hey girl, do you remember how we used to slay? Whether it was in June or December, we had cause to celebrate. We used to catch a vibe anywhere we go. Getting high on life is just how we'd roll. Those sweet memories decorate the walls of my mind. We spent our long summer days lounging in the park, listening to the summer breeze, soaking up the rays from the sunlight. In the breeze, we'd laugh, we'd joke, we chill, we smoke. That's why I'm waxing lyrical about the good old days. I'll never go away, forever etched in my mind. Back in the day, when the beat was bumping. Back in the day, when the groove meant something. Back in the day, when the DJ had us losing our mind. Back in the day, when the bass was thumping. Back in the day. Ooh, I pray those good old days never go away, forever etched in my mind. I can remember staying out late at night.
Oh, do you remember that? It's amazing.
Burning down the groove in the big smoke, living our best lives. We hit up the town, burnt the dance floor. DJ had us wanting more. About the good old days, I'll never go away, forever etched in my mind. Back in the day, when the beat was bumping. Back in the day, when the groove meant something. Back in the day, when the DJ had us losing our mind. Back in the day, when the bass was thumping. Ooh, I pray those good old days never go away, forever etched in my mind.
Yeah, I know it's bad. You know what I mean? It's like,
Hey,
it was just like, honestly, it was
do you
amazing.
remember back in the day?
Come on now, come on. It's mad, isn't it? So you just
Hey,
honestly, those were the days, man. Honestly, I really miss them.
back in the day, when the beat was bumping. Back in the day, when the groove meant something. When the DJ had us losing our mind. Back in the day, when the bass was thumping. Back in the day, I swear those good old days will never go away, forever etched in my mind. Put your snaps up, yeah. Everybody clap your hands. Move right, move left. Do the two-step, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Put your snaps up, yeah. Everybody clap your hands. Come on, move right, move left, yeah. Back in the back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day.
That's terrific. I love that song. I've listened to that dozens of times already. Do you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. It's fine. I want to make a few comments about that song. First of all,
Okay.
I love the chorus. It's
Thank
got a
you.
great hook. It's got a great hook. I love the chorus. It really, really grabs you, and it's really nostalgic. I think you captured the nostalgia of soul music really beautifully.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a wonderful track. So,
Thank you so much.
yeah, it's doing very well on the charts. I looked at Media Base, and it's really tracking well.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with how it's getting received. So I know things take a little while to kind of really kick in there, but so far so good. So I'm super excited to see how well it's going to perform. But so
I
far
think
so good. Yeah, absolutely.
it's doing great. It's one of the ones they put an EX next to because it's moving up the charts really exceptionally, really quickly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
No, that's
yeah,
amazing to know. That's great.
yeah. You're
I'm
doing
excited.
great.
It's really, because the thing is, it's funny because obviously I'm in the UK, so sometimes you don't see what's going on, beyond. So it's amazing
Yeah.
to hear that.
Oh yeah, there's about in the top 40. There's maybe 2 or 3 that are marked EX, and yours is one of them because it just means it's a fast-moving track. It's doing
Oh,
well,
wow.
better than average.
Wow, that's
Doing very
definitely
well.
cheered me up today. Put
Yeah,
a
I'm
smile on
glad
my
I could
face.
cheer you up.
Yes.
You know,
Amazing.
you had a song that you did a while ago called "Until You Come Back to Me." Okay,
Yes.
and that was an acoustic recording, if I remember right. Am I right?
That is, yeah. So that's the Aretha Franklin Stevie Wonder. So I kind of did an acoustic version of it, just to kind of, yeah, give it a little different twist. Because obviously, I'm always, even though I've done a few covers, during my career, I'm always mindful about doing covers because people have always got like strong affinity to the original version, so you're always gonna get compared to that. So unless really you're gonna put a different twist to it, twist on it, sometimes it can kind of work against you. And luckily for me, it worked, for me. It did wonders for my career. So but when we recorded it, it's just, yeah, I just wanted to do like a simple, um obviously, covering a song that someone like Aretha Franklin has sung. I mean, some people were
Yeah.
like, the cheek of it, and I kind of felt like that as well. It's like, I don't know, because it's Aretha Franklin, you don't really want that comparison. But I think when I went into it, I just kind of went into it with like, okay, well, I'm just going to put my own spin on it, and just do a Hills version, and it worked.
Yeah, it's really important. If you're going to do a cover from somebody like Aretha Franklin or Stevie Wonder, that you do make it your own, because you don't want to try to do their version because no one can.
No, no, you
So
can't.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly,
So
because you're talking about amazing songwriter and an amazing, vocalist and artist. So yeah, definitely you kind of have to just
yeah,
make it your own.
yeah. That song, last I checked, it had probably over 4 million streams. On the different streaming platforms. I mean, that one's done super
Yeah,
well.
it's done amazingly well. In fact, it's probably, I think it's one of my highest streaming songs, Hill Street Soul songs, funny enough. But yeah, the response to that particular song has been amazing,
You
definitely.
know, talk about making the song your own. One of my friends is Macy Gray. You know Macy?
Oh yes, Mace. Oh my gosh, yeah, incredible again.
Yeah. Macy never met a cover she didn't like.
Oh, for real.
Macy will, Macy will sing soul, country, alternative, rock, pop. If she
Everything. Yeah,
likes the
she's
song,
very eclectic.
yes, but she makes the song her own. And like you, the reason I brought this song up, I think in its own right, what you did with the song, it's as good as the original.
Oh
Because
wow, thank you.
first of all, you have a 4 octave voice. That's what I'm hearing. Am I right?
Do you know what? I've never really studied, like, because I'm not musically trained per se. I've never actually studied my voice. I mean, I think, yeah, I think I can. I've got a pretty broad range. I
You
don't. I
do.
mean, the only notes I can't hit is the Minnie Riperton kind of notes. I can't do those ones, but I
Yeah,
can. I think I'm kind of like mid to high, and then definitely low,
yeah,
the lower end of things. Absolutely, yeah.
yeah. It sounds like you're a contralto. But you mentioned earlier Dwelle, and I had when Dwelle was on my show, and you mentioned now Minnie Riperton. I asked Dwelle a question: if you could, collaborate with any artist, have him or her on stage with you, who would it be? And I was shocked. He said Minnie Riperton. I wouldn't have expected
Oh
Dwelle
wow.
to say that. Yeah, that's
No,
the
not at
artist.
all. I think, yeah, especially knowing the kind of artist he is and the kind of body of work that he's done. But that
Yeah,
goes to show, yeah,
yeah.
amazing.
It is amazing. That kind of question always gets a great response. So let's play another one of your songs for everybody, and maybe you can tell people a little bit about this one. I love this song.
Okay.
Heaven must be
Huh?
like this. Heaven must be like this.
Oh, yeah, another cover.
Tell people a backstory on that one.
Well, Heaven Must Be Like This actually was a song that my label boss put to me, like said, Hills, I think that you would do a great cover of this. And my initial reaction was like, I don't know, I'm not sure. Again, like I'm always, every time somebody asks, approaches me about doing a cover, I'm always a bit tentative, like, well, I don't know if I want to do another cover.
Yeah,
However, he suggested I, think about it. And then he got a producer, Prince Damon's, to do the production on it. He's one of the guy, I think one of the producers that works with Dwelle, funny enough. And when I heard what they did, I really loved it. I thought this is really, really cool. And at that point, I still wasn't sold on the idea. But when I went in the studio and started laying down my vocals, everything just seemed to just kind of come together nicely. It was like, it just felt like I was, I had a blank canvas and I was just kind of doing a painting, and this painting was, coming together, and I was just like really happy with the end result. So I was very glad, so glad that he actually suggested me doing that cover, because it's not a song I would necessarily even think about covering, by the Great Ohio Players, but because the original version of it is amazing again. And again, it was, that whole thing of how am I going to put my own stamp on it? And again, I just kind of went into the studio, the same approach, like, okay, I'm just going to sing the song how I hear it and how I feel it. And it just came together. So I was very happy with that, the outcome of that track.
Oh, wonderful. Let's play that for everybody right now. And this is Hill Street Soul, and playing.
Hey girl, do you remember how we used to slay? Whether it was in June or December, we had cause to celebrate. We used to catch a vibe anywhere we go. Getting high on life is just how we'd roll. Those sweet memories decorate the walls of my mind. We spent our long summer days lounging in the park, listening to the summer breeze, soaking up the rays from the sunlight. In the breeze, we laugh, we joke, we chill, we smoke. That's why I'm waxing lyrical about the good old days. I'll never go away, forever etched in my mind. Back in the day, when the beat was bumping. Back in the day, when the groove meant something. Back in the day, when the DJ had us losing our mind. When the bass was thumping. Back in the day. Ooh, I pray those good old days will never go away, forever etched in my mind. I can remember staying out late at night.
Oh, do you remember that? It's amazing.
Burning down the groove in the big smoke, living our best lives. We hit up the town, burnt the dance floor. DJ had us wanting more. About the good old days, I'll never go away, forever etched in my mind. Back in the day, when the beat was bumping. Back in the day, when the groove meant something. Back in the day, when the DJ had us losing our mind. Back in the day, when the bass was thumping. Back in the day. Ooh, I pray those good old days will never go away, forever etched in my when the beat was bumping. Back in the day, when the groove meant something. Back in the day, when the DJ had us losing our mind. Back in the day, when the bass was thumping. Back in the day, I swear those good old days will never go away, forever etched in my mind. Put your snaps up, yeah. Everybody clap your hands. Move right, move left. Do the two-step, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Put your snaps up, yeah. Everybody clap your hands. Come on, move right, move left, yeah. Back in the back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day.
I love your music. I love,
Thank
I love
you.
your music. I played Back in the Day again.
I know.
I just want
Wasn't
everybody
going
to
to say
hear it.
anything, but
No, I know.
I'm glad you got another spin.
Yeah, I wanted to play another spin because I've had like 3 or 4 people calling in asking me to play it again.
Oh, okay. So I
So
thought it was a mistake. So
yeah, no, it
amazing.
wasn't. So yeah, I was just about to put it on. I glanced at my phone. I got 4 messages. Can you play Back in the Day again? So yeah, no
Oh,
problem.
wonderful. That's amazing.
So yeah, so now,
I thought it was like a computer error. I was like, oh, okay.
no, it wasn't. It wasn't. So now we'll go ahead and we'll play for everybody. Um, um, the let me get my mind together here. The people threw me off. They really threw me off a little bit when I saw. I was just
Yeah.
surprised. I've never had that. I've never had people. They have my.
Wow,
I've never
really?
had them play it again. I've never.
That
I've
is
never heard that.
incredible. I'm glad it's resonating with people.
Yeah. So
That's amazing.
So let's play Heaven Must Be Like This.
Okay.
Hill Street Soul. We'll give it another try. Okay.
All right.
Wonderful. That is just,
Thank
it is heavenly.
you.
That is a heavenly song.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I really love that song. So tell us a little bit about, during that period, was that around when you did that song, was that before the pandemic?
That was No, I think that was post-pandemic.
Is it post-pandemic?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was either during or just after.
Yeah,
Because I remember the first song that I did during the pandemic was One Life, because that was really talking about that particular time.
right.
And then that song came after, so it might have been during or just after.
Yeah, I thought it was. I remember when it came out, and I thought it was like 2021, 2022, around there.
Yeah, it was around that time. Yeah, so it was definitely, yeah, I think it was during actually the
You can
pandemic.
tell you can tell I listened to all of your music.
You do, don't you? Oh, amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Who is some of the other musicians that you work with? Can you tell me about some of them? I know
Oh
there's been a
gosh.
number.
I mean, I've worked with there were some musicians I worked with when I did a little stint over in New Jersey and Philly. I worked with some musicians there, Anthony Tidd, and he had like
Oh,
a camp of writers that he was working with. So I kind of did some songwriting with them. My second album, I remember working with oh my gosh, I don't know how his name has gone out of my head. Um, Amazing songwriter. He's written for Brownstone. If You Love Me, it's just his name. I don't know why. I think it's just the time of the night. It's gone from
that's okay.
my brain. Yeah, so he's written for Brownstone, and I know he did Anita Baker's I Apologize. I'm just
Oh,
trying to
okay.
remember the name. Hopefully
I
it'll
know
come
who
back
that,
to me.
I know who that is. Now you mentioned.
Yeah,
It
Gordon
doesn't.
Chambers. Yes, that's it. There
Yes,
you go.
yes, yes.
Gordon Chambers. So I've worked with him. He wrote a song on my second album, and that was an incredible experience. And I've collaborated obviously with a lot of, performed alongside a lot of artists, on stage. Um, but with now I'm trying to remember his name now. He did a lot of my Spike Lee's musical scores,
Oh, okay.
and I remember getting invited over to perform as part of one of the artists alongside Bilal was one of the artists that performed, and
Hill, did you
another, I can't
always do
remember the name.
Did you always do solos, or did you do some backgrounds occasionally too?
Well, like background singing on other people's projects.
Yeah.
I have done so, but to be honest with you, I think they've been like unknown. For unknown producers, I might have done some background vocals, but generally not that much, not that often. I tend to just do a lot of my own, solo
Your own stuff.
recording, material and stuff like that. So,
At one
but
point in
yeah,
your
no,
career,
I've been lucky to have kind of worked with different people.
yeah, that's great. You work with some really good people too. Yeah, you took a long break from music, didn't you, for quite
I
some time?
did.
Tell
Yeah, I
us about
did.
that. When was that?
That was like, gosh, do you know what? I think it was maybe like around 2000, and when I did my last album was called Black Rose. That was the last project that I did. And then I took a little bit of time out because I actually went back to my country of birth, Zambia, and took a year out because I just kind of wanted to just to do a little bit more of explore a bit more of my musical just trying to find
Roots.
inspiration. So
Yeah.
I kind of went out there for the whole year and took a little took a little sabbatical away from music. However, even though I say that, when I got to Zambia, I found myself doing music out there. But I was working with a lot of local talent out there,
What a
some
coincidence.
local musicians. So that was incredible because that was very, that was really kind of inspirational because it kind of allowed me to dabble in something different. So I was doing a lot of working with some local musicians. So I was trying out, music with a bit of my kind of like Zambian influence in it. So that was really great because it kind of just, I think it just kind of gave me that, that spark that I kind of needed to kind of get back into the music. So I did take a little bit of time off, and when I got back, and that was around 2013 actually. So when I got back from Zambia, I got a call from Steve Ripley, who does a lot of my sort of like promoting my music over here, and he contacted me saying, "Oh, the manager for Noel Gordine is looking for a UK songstress to feature on a remix of his track called No Worries." So I got introduced to Noel and Reggie Myrex, like, through that record. So I collaborated with Noel on that single, and that was the beginning of my kind of affiliation, if you like, with Reggie Myrex. So yeah, so that was kind of like when I came back from Zambia in 2014. That's when I sort of started slowly getting back into music. So I was literally doing a lot of collaborations, also doing some soulful house stuff, just different projects with different producers, just trying out different things. And then eventually that kind of led me to One Life with Reggie. And that was during the pandemic. So I just came up with that song because that was just how I felt at the time with everything that was going on. It was very uncertain kind of time in our lives, I guess. And it just kind of made me think about, life in that moment, like just the fragility of life, because at that point we didn't really know what was going on. And so I just kind of wrote a song about, making the most of the one life that you have. So yeah, it's kind of quite a journey getting, from taking that time out of music and actually getting back to that 20, I think it was 2021 or 2020 when
Right.
I officially kind of started working on what was going to be my I think it's the 5th album, which was Back in Love. So it was a journey that at the time I didn't even know that I was going through, but it was definitely kind of like a gradual thing.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of artists are afraid to do. They're afraid to get out of the public eye. They're afraid, they're not willing to take that break. But it could be really
Yeah.
refreshing. It could be really refreshing and inspirational, and it really worked for you. That's for sure.
No, it did. And I think because my whole approach is I've never really been about, being famous or whatever. I just, do music because I love doing music. And, of course I wanted to reach a wide audience, like, you know, but my kind of reasoning behind doing music is purely for the love of it, really. So for me, taking time away wasn't it wasn't a big thing for me. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, everyone's yeah, you do have those kind of like feelings, oh, everyone's going to forget about me and stuff like that, but I wasn't really thinking too much about that. It was just like, when I came back with the single One Life, I wasn't expecting that response because I did actually think, oh, a lot of people probably forgotten about me now, um and yeah, it was just like, the best surprise ever, because obviously, people still love what I do, and the response was amazing. So but I think just the fact that I just don't think about things like that, I just kind of just followed my heart and my instinct. And and also for me, I kind of only really want to put out music that I'm really happy with and feeling. If I'm not really feeling it, then I don't really want it to be out in the public domain. So it has to be something that I'm kind of like, yeah, behind 100%.
Look, you've been doing music for a few decades. So my question is, when you look around the music scene today, what do you think of it? Do you think it's the old record label radio domination of artists is gone? Streaming is paying people 0.008 cents per spin, hardly a king's ransom. But when you
Oh
look
my
around,
gosh.
and urban music has taken over the airwaves. You used to be able to turn on a radio station and get rock, pop, jazz, country, blues, R&B. But
Right.
it's being crowded out. What do you think about the music scene today when you look around London or you look around the UK?
I mean, yeah, it has changed a lot. I mean, obviously, um, you know, you've touched upon a lot of things that affect a lot of musicians, like the streaming, because a lot of, you know, music, I guess, is the way that music is consumed is very different now to when I first started out. Because when I first started out, it was very much, yeah, you do an album and people go and buy it, you know.
Yeah,
But now everything's download this, download that, stream that. So yeah, from that you know, aspect, especially when you're an independent indie artist, it is a bit of a challenge, because financially, you know, the figures don't
yeah,
stack up really.
yeah.
um so, you know, I think as artists and musicians, you kind of have to find other ways to, you know, to bring that money in, as it were. But yeah, music has changed. There are pros and cons. I feel like, is, you know, when I look at especially the younger artists, I feel like, you know, for them, it probably is a great, you know, it's a better environment. And just the fact that, you know, you could be creating music in your bedroom, and you know, if you're good at doing the whole social media thing, it can go viral, and obviously that's, you know, establish your career. um and I think, you know, in that respect, the fact that you can, you know, the way that, you know, you don't necessarily have to do things through a label. I feel like that, you know, that's a positive thing, because it works for a lot of artists. But yeah, if somebody coming from the, you know, back from the old school, it is very different, and there's a lot of challenges. But
Well,
you know,
you know,
I do feel like one of the fortunate ones, because I'm still here doing making music. But it's just trying to find ways to, you know, get it to your audience really.
well,
And
you also were describing songwriting. You know that Reggie sent you a track, and you listen to it, and you spend some time, and you put down, your spin on it. And songwriting now is done by groups. It's not even done by individuals, and it's done with a computer, and the computer generates the hook and generates the chorus. I've
now
heard,
that's scary. Yeah.
yeah, I've heard Sheryl Crow talk about this, and she's furious. She said that's not music. She said it's computer
Yeah, I
generated.
mean,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking about the AI thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that is a bit, I think that's a bit worrying, absolutely. Um, but I don't know, I mean, personally, as a consumer, I would rather, yeah, I'd rather kind of listen to music that I know has been created by you know, a real person, rather
Person.
than
Yeah,
computer
yeah.
generated. Yeah, definitely. That's just me. It is a bit, just sounds a little bit bizarre, um, in terms of, you know, that kind of thing coming into the whole mix is a bit kind of worrying, absolutely.
One of the things that and this is before AI, and again, I'm not denigrating any hip hop artist. I'm just talking about as a genre. What bothered me was looping and the lack of instrumentation when hip hop came around. And it kind of took the orchestration out of the music. And,
Yeah.
and so a lot of the changes that are taking place, I really don't understand, because there's a richness to the music that you do that is being lost. And
I totally agree. Actually, I
yeah,
agree. Yeah, absolutely. You
yeah,
can't, you know, I mean, there's nothing more kind of, I don't know, satisfying than hearing something that's created from the source by a real person, if you like, and real musicians. And I hope that that continues, to be honest with you, because yeah, this whole AI thing is a bit, yeah,
yeah.
a bit concerning.
Yep. Let's play your last song of the evening. My groove. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about that song, then we'll play that.
Ah, okay. So that was a song that I wrote on my last album, Back in Love, with Mr. Reggie Myrick's again. And that's just kind of like it's meant to be a song about, you know, spending time with your loved one, or your, you know, your special, that special person in your life, really. But I wanted to kind of have fun with the record, um and kind of use the analogy of, I was using the analogy of vinyl, and just like referencing, you know, music, um you know, for example, the vinyl, the needle hitting the groove and the
Yeah.
vinyl, as an analogy to actually that kind of whole spending that kind of precious moment time with your with your loved one. So yeah, it's just kind of like a fun record, really, even though it's kind of it's like a slow kind of groove, but it was kind of like a fun take on that, because I kind of do like my kind of educational background. Even though I kind of excelled in the sciences, I actually did English literature as a degree. So I'm always fascinated with like using just kind of like kind of English connotations and that kind of thing. I love using analogies and all that kind of thing in my songwriting. So that song is a prime example of that. I think, yeah.
Wonderful. Let's play it for everybody, and then we'll come back, and I have a couple more questions, and we'll wrap up for the evening. Okay? So this is my groove, and this is from Hill Street Soul. I hope everybody, I know you'll enjoy it the way I do.
Want you to give me that good loving, the crazy, sexy kind of ooh loving. Want you to give me that hood loving. It's therapeutic and it's good for me. It's been a damn hell of a week. It's taken its toll on me. I've been running on empty. Want you to give me that good loving. Want you to give me that good loving. Need to recharge my batteries and find a way to release all this tension that's been accumulated. Want you to make love to me, baby, here and now, till I can get enough. I can't get enough. Baby, break me off and turn this body out until the sun comes up. Like when the record hits the platter, needle fits in the air. We can synchronize together, make sweet music and get in our mood. Want you to give me that good loving. Want you to give me that. Want you to stay in the groove, in the pocket, and break it all the way down till you got me saying, rewind, selector, wheel and come again. Hello there, baby boo, now you're right on cue. So drop your needle in my room, play me like a vinyl, baby. Ooh, yeah. All day, all night, till you play me all night. I just wanna rock, I wanna roll, yeah. So drop your needle in my groove. Drop your when we're getting down to dirt in my groove. Want you to give me that good loving. Want you to love and devour every part of me until it feels so good. Feels so good. Help me forget about the week I've had and elevate my mind so I'm no longer feeling so blue. Feels so good. And I want you to dig deeper into the crank up the bass and turn it loose. And I can get enough. I can get
That's great. That's such a great song, Hill. I
Thank
love that.
you.
I really love
Feel
that.
good, yeah, feel good track.
Yeah, it really is. And that's what I like about a lot of your music. Your music is feel good music. That's
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm always drawn to writing music that's gonna, uplift, make you feel good, even if it's the topic is a sad one. I don't know. I'm always kind of like I want to leave the listener feeling, uplifted because for me that's what music is about. There's so much going on in the world, and for me, music is
yes,
like a
yes.
distraction, and I want to be, left feeling good. So yeah.
Well, that's. I think you're making a really important point, especially in these days with the way the world is. People need to be able to feel good and take a break from everything. And
Yeah,
that's yeah.
absolutely.
Let me. I have a question. One last question, then we'll wrap up for tonight. If you could collaborate with anybody, any musician, composer, producer, vocalist, from any century, from Beethoven to the present, who would you choose? Who would you want to collaborate with?
Oh my gosh, there are so many that I would love to collaborate with, but I'm gonna go with Curtis Mayfield. I just love, like, when I
Oh, I
listen to his
love
stuff. Yeah,
that.
I just find it so like I love listening to his music just from his kind of like lyrical content. I love
Oh,
the
man.
the orchestration of his music, particularly because obviously I know back in the day they used to go and record their projects. I know he did with an orchestra, and
Yeah.
you can hear it. It's just so dynamic and so huge. I love listening to. Yeah, so I that is definitely like one of my top
Wow.
10.
That's a
Would love to
great pick.
collaborate with. Yeah,
That's a great
I
pick.
love Curtis
He's
Mayfield.
one of the most underrated guitarists ever.
Yeah, absolutely,
Phenomenal
absolutely.
guitar player. I mean, his riffs, it was so, you can tell right away it's a Curtis Mayfield. I mean, it was so
Amazing,
distinguished.
honestly, amazing. To this
Yeah.
day, I listen to his stuff, and yeah, I would love, if there was a way to work with someone like that, I would love to. Yeah,
Yeah, he would definitely be in my top three, also.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Yeah. The other person, one of my top three is Stevie Wonder.
I was gonna say him actually. I was gonna also
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
Steve. I mean, what an incredible songwriter and singer, for that
Oh,
matter.
yeah.
Um,
Songs in the Key of Life. That was the most
it was a
amazing
toss up
album
between
ever.
the two.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
absolutely. I mean, he's in my top 10 as well. Knit towards
Well,
the top, definitely, if not the top.
well,
But yeah, I just chose Curtis because that's what came to my um
yeah.
mind, and I just thought, yeah, what an incredible musician and artist he was. So
Yeah, Hill, I've enjoyed this so much. I've enjoyed you. I enjoyed meeting you for the first time.
likewise, it's been
Yeah,
such a revelation, honestly. Thank you so much for having me.
yeah.
It's
You
been
you have
wonderful to talking to you.
you have 119,600 people listening in tonight just on my station alone. It doesn't count
Wow,
any of my
that's
affiliates.
amazing.
A lot of
That's
people
amazing.
listening in.
Honestly, I'm just, thank you so much for having me. It's been so, yeah, it's just been such a wonderful conversation, having a conversation
Yeah,
with you. I've really enjoyed myself.
I'm glad. Yeah, do you have any last words for your fans or people who just met you for the first time that you want to share from your heart? Anything you want to tell them?
Well, I mean, if anybody doesn't, obviously, isn't familiar with Hill, please do, hop onto all my social media platforms. So it's Hill Street Soul. That's HILSTSOUL. So you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and drop me a line or make a comment. And I've got 5 albums, or is it 6 albums now, out there.
That's
So
six.
do check them out. There's like, yeah, lots of material out there. And yeah, I just look forward to hopefully meeting some of these guys out when I get out there on the road. But thank you so much for the love and support. I really do appreciate every one of you guys. So appreciate you.
Wonderful. Look, you take care of yourself. I want to have you back on when you drop some more music. Let Myron or Reggie know, and let's get you back on.
Absolutely. And I think this time around I'm gonna rope. I mean, I'll make sure that Reggie's available as well. That would be nice to have like a three-way conversation with you
Yeah, well,
to
if you
discuss,
come,
yeah, just talk about music.
yeah, you mentioned you want to do some touring in the U.S. When you do, let me know because I'll help promote your music and I'll have you on again live when you come to the states.
Fantastic. Thank you. No, I will definitely do that and look forward to, talking to you again soon.
Good. You take care of yourself. It's been a pleasure.
And you too.
Bye-bye.
Ciao. Bye-bye. Bye.
Well, everybody, that was Hill Street Soul. You know, she's just fabulous. A great, great vocalist, a wonderful person. You know, and it's just a pleasure to have her on tonight. Tomorrow night is my other show that I want everybody to tune into. It's the Jazz Confusion Power Hour, and I have another person named Soul. This is JC Soul, who's a marvelous vocalist also, and you'll really enjoy her music. So tune in tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time to the Jazz Confusion Power Hour right here on the Source Radio Network. Good night, everybody. I'm Mel Albin. I'm the host and the founder of the Jazz Confusion Power
My name
Hour.
is Dion Parson, and I'm honored to share my passion of music with you, our listening audience, through my cultural heritage.
Things can change for you too. If you want to be brand new, that is absolutely possible.